Hello, everyone. We are having a different talk today. Usually you use these sessions to record our podcast, but today I have a special guest. So you already know because I'm speaking in English. And for this special session, I have here a friend of mine and also a sister of practice, Patrícia Przybylski. Say hi, Patrícia.
Hi, guys.
Are you excited for our talk today?
I'm so excited. I'm super fan of Vera.
Yeah, I'm very excited and I'm very thrilled because this is a special guest, as I said. She's a sister of practice from Germany, and she's been practicing Tai Chi since she was a kid, non-stop, and she's a student of Master Jan Silberstorff. Welcome, Vera Neumann. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. Vera, we can start our talking today, getting to know you a little bit better. So I'd like to know how you started Tai Chi, when exactly? I know that you started at a very young age, and why Tai Chi?
Yeah, well, I was 7.
How you evolved in your practice, you know?
Mm-hmm. I was started when I was 7. I started because I had to start. Actually, it was a doctor who said to my mom that I should learn Tai Chi to support my health, actually. And this doctor was really good. She did some other things that is not like normal medicine stuff. And then my mom, I was lucky, my mom heard on what she said and tried to find a good teacher. And my sister, she's younger than me, and the doctor said she should do some Shaolin Kung Fu, some Kung Fu, and I should do some Tai Chi because of the way that we act in everyday life. So that's why my mom went to see where she could find a good teacher, and then there was a connection between those teachers, and she directly got to Jan Silberstorff, who lived still in Hamburg for most of the year. And yeah, that's how it happened. So it was not my choice. Actually, it was something that came over me, but finally was really good for me, still being my point of life, actually.
So you started at 7, you said,
yeah.
Right? And how did you like it? Because you're very young, and usually at this age, we don't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I didn't care mainly. There were things that I liked in the class with Jan. It was always private class, sometimes with another girl together, sometimes only me. And well, there was things I liked. There were things that I just had to do and did. So that was okay. I was just doing it. And then there was a period where I did not really like that, and I had also some fear, and it was a bit hard, but I still had to do it because my mom said so, and well, I had to do it. Then there was like a point of change when I first met many people practicing together, which was in Rogla. Maybe you know about the camps that used to be in Rogla in Slovenia. And that was the first time I saw there were 100 people practicing Tai Chi, and they were all like a different spirit. It was not the same as you would experience in normal life. And yeah, that changed my point of view. And yeah, I was always interested in Chinese as well. And this came all together, and then yeah, I decided to.
How old were you at this point, at this shifting point?
The shifting point was about, I was 13, I think, 13.
A teenager then.
Yes, a teenager. So yes. Of course there's ups and downs anyway. And there was this really change where I decided, okay, now that's good, and I will do that. So I like China, and yeah, then the way continued and went to China, and all that got more deep and deep and deep. So yeah.
When did you went to China?
What did you say?
When did you went did you go to China?
I went in 2009 when I was 15, so 15 and a half. So I went there during normal school time, making a break in school, and going there for practicing, going there for learning Chinese. Well, mainly practicing as I was in San Diego, and Chinese on the other side, coming naturally or talking to people.
Yeah.
So do you speak Chinese, Vera?
Yes, I do.
Nice, amazing, amazing.
I learned some Chinese before I went to China, but I couldn't understand them. But of course, I had like the basic things already learned, which in a time when I still was young, so it's easier to learn, right? Everybody says, and I think it is, because when I was 15, I learned it then like more like a mother language. I did not have the teacher telling me everything in English, and then in Chinese, I just learned by talking and writing, and
yeah, great.
So you started practicing Tai Chi when you were 7 years old, and evolved your practice, building the martial artist that you are today. So how this journey evolved in order for you to become a teacher and to dive so deep in the culture and in the practice itself?
of course, there was a big influence from China. When I was in China, everybody did Tai Chi. In San Diego, everybody does Tai Chi, and there's nothing else. So from Monday to Saturday, nothing else. And of course, when I was like the same age of the other guys, and there were some trainers who were maybe 20 while I was 15, who were like the big ones, but they were trainers and they teach the younger ones. So if you continue, you're practicing, if you get better and better, then you start to understand things. And then there's other people who see, oh, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? And then it comes naturally. So when I went back to Germany, I still had to go to school, of course, but I started my first class because why should I not start giving away what I learned, like doing it or bringing it to other people who want to learn it? So that's how it started. It was just not a club, but something after school where my students and teachers, if they wanted, could go. And of course, it was not a big thing. I did not do many advertisement or anything like that, but I still started to come into the position of not only being the student, but also being the one in the front. And from then on, it became more and more like I started to introduce the Chinese masters when they came to Germany, especially Chen Zijiang. When he comes to Germany, I started to introduce what he was teaching. Then, of course, you have a different point of view on teaching again. You're also in the front. You don't have to make up the class, but still you are always in the front. And yeah, from then on, there's more classes coming up. And yeah, that's the way it naturally came like that, to give away what I learned and to help, or maybe not help, but to make it possible to other people to do what I did and to give them the good thing that I could get when I was younger.
Yeah, beautiful. And did you meet our grandmaster Chen Xiaowang in China when you went there?
Yes, as well.
Yeah.
Well, I met him various times. Like I first met him in Rogla in Slovenia. That was when I was 13, and when I was 14 again, I went there. And then I met him in China when I lived there 1 year. And the year after, I think I met him there again. So when I went back to meet people, to go back, say hello, because I didn't want to leave China when I was 16 then.
Yeah, and what was your first impression about the grandmaster? I mean, what was your you had I don't know, some expectations about him, or to what did you feel, you know, when you saw him moving beautifully? Yeah, did you were excited?
I knew him when I was 13, right? So
yeah.
in that point of view, it was the first time I just told, it was like the changing point where I realized there's more than being teased at school because I did something strange and things like that, right? So I got to know him then. For me, it was special, but as special as everything else on that camp. So,
you were very young, yeah, of course.
And then, of course, I knew him, and then, of course, he saw there was a girl, and I was the youngest person in that camp, and of course, then you recognize the person, and then it's when I meet him again, it's of course it's cool to see that. It's good to see where it goes and what is possible, of course, but still, it's a person for me who is also a normal person. I've been living with his brother, Chen Xiaoxing. I've been living with his, like from Chen Xiaoxing, the son, I don't know how it's called in English. And I've been living with them, and it's normal people. They have really good skill, and they are really high skilled, and I really recognize them, but at the same time, they are just a person like everyone else. So
yeah, sure.
Always there's both sides for me in that. So yeah, maybe like that. So of course it's good to see him again, and it's amazing, of course.
Yeah.
But still, it's good.
So Vera, you took your practice to a level that you have taken part in national and international Taiji competitions, and you won several medals. What was your secret for having achieved such proficiency level of practice?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's one big secret. It's many factors that come together. One thing, of course, is when I was in China, I was in the show team of the school quite soon. So we had many presentations where I always was involved, and I always was involved with the short form. So as soon as there were visitors coming to Go, like a group of tourists or a group of foreigners or a group of anyone, then there was this kind of presentation made for those groups. And I was part of this show team and started to perform what I was learning before. Like I learned the short form, and then I was starting to perform it. And this, of course, was a big help, because if you do that many, many times, you on one hand get used to be watched, and on the other hand get used to be a little bit with adrenaline, like a little bit nervous. And what does it do to you? What does it make with you? This is a big experience, what you can do in competitions, but also in presentations. In competitions, of course, there's something else that you have to not only do a good presentation in connection with the people watching, like if they like what you do, maybe it does not have too much importance if it's really good, if they don't know what you're doing. But if they know what you're doing, like judges being in front of you, of course, there's something else coming up. And then the secret, if you want to call it secret, is to not only shine for the people being there watching, but also to be focused and clear in mind without thinking about, oh, there's a judge thinking about me now, and there's a judge saying this or thinking that, there's these visitors thinking this or that, but just being with me and really enjoying just to perform and shine in front of the people, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, you have to concentrate on the presentation, and that's it. So yeah,
concentration on what you're doing, but at the same time not over concentration, which is also possible. Like you want to do it really good, you want to do everything, and then you make one mistake and you think, oh no, I did a mistake, and then the mind is like so it's better to be like in a flow and not criticizing yourself or something like that.
Good. The mind is not so welcome.
one word that you said about it is enjoy yourself. So I guess this is the big secret. And not only practice a lot in order for you to feel very comfortable with the form, whatever it is, but also enjoy while you are doing it, while you are executing the form. Because if you enjoy, no matter what happens during this presentation, you're having fun, you're having a great time with yourself. So I guess when you do that, you don't get that nervous about the judges, about who are watching you. Do you think that maybe it's something like that? Because
really
I got this feeling about what you said.
It's really important, not only for me, myself, because still I can be disappointed if the judges say something that I don't expect. That of course still can happen, but at the time that your performance, you have a different kind of atmosphere. I don't know how to explain that, but your expression is different if you enjoy what you're doing. If you enjoy what you do, everyone would see you enjoy what you're doing, and that is a different thing than being really strong or being really like with fear. You express that outside. So even if you don't, well,
it shows.
Yeah, it shows exactly.
So when you say that it's a combination of things that took you to the competitions, but I think the secret of doing well in competition, maybe if I say so, would be that you enjoying what you're doing. You're having that moment with you while you are doing, not only for show, not only for the judges or for the audience, but for yourself, you know.
Exactly. And that's also a really good, really important point as soon as you have some expectations maybe from outside. Like if I won some medals and I was first place, and then what do everybody think when I'm not the first place again? Like this is thoughts, of course, that come up, which make you more pressure and which stops being enjoying what you're doing, you know. So that's really important. Enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah. I have a tricky question for you now. You had a long and very fruitful journey so far. You started early, and you were, besides you being a kid when you started, and you were a female kid, a woman now. And how being a woman during this journey, no matter it was when you were a kid or a teenager or a woman now, if this presented as a challenge for you in any moment of your journey, and how you overcame this challenge? Because this is an environment dominated by men, so.
Yes. You have different atmospheres. Maybe I do it a little chronological.
Yeah, perfect.
I will start with China maybe, because in China it's just men, mainly male students coming to the school, many kids, but mostly male. There were about 100 boys and maybe 5 girls or something when I was there. So of course that was something very special. I was not only the first person being that young for such a long time in China, like in San Diego in the school, without any parents, just living there like every normal kid as well. But I was also female, and in China, for me, that was good actually, because the boys would talk to me just because they wanted to know more about me. Of course, maybe they would want to know something about me if I would have been a boy, yes. But it's a different way of talking, and people would watch me different. So I talked to many of the boys, and I would say I learned Chinese by talking with them, because everybody, like a boy, talked to me as a girl, because they ask things and they ask it again and again and again, and I have to learn how to answer on those thing. So that was really good for me.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I always feared to make real push hands with them because they were really strong. They had a lot of power. They are hard in what they do. And for me, it was not safe enough, like the underground and things like that, to be with them in push hands, which of course was, in seeing it afterwards, is really sad because I could have learned a lot. But the influence or the picture I got there was so hard picture that I didn't really want to compete with those boys. And there were a few women, as I told before, like a few girls. And that, of course, I was really big and really high in comparison to them. It was not really someone same with me, same age, same height, and same weight. Yeah. So yeah, that was difficult, and that still is something that continues afterwards. Like if you go to competitions, if you have very few women, it's mostly men. If there's people competing in push hands, then it's mostly men and not women. And sometimes you have those competitions where, as a woman, you have to compete with boys. And there was one experience when I felt really bad because that was strong men. They had the same weight, but they still can make another force because they are men, only because of that. But if you see it on the other hand, when I practice with them and when I practice with my teammates, they are mostly also men. If I practice with them, I sometimes get upset or I sometimes get sad or I think I can never do it. But when I then go to a competition and have women in front of me, of course, it's like, what's happening here? That's fine because I've been having some so strong partners before. So it's challenging on one hand, and on the other side, it's good because it's challenging.
Yeah.
It toughens you.
So yeah, and in Germany, it's for me not. Also for me as a teacher now, I have some groups where there's more women, and I have some groups where there's no men, and I still can't find out why. Maybe a little bit on the theme, but not really, because I didn't teach too many themes. And yeah, and with some other teachers it's the same, and some teachers have more male persons and some teachers have more female students. Yeah, that's just, I don't know exactly why.
Okay. Next question. Let's see. Well, at present, you still maintain your practice routines, but also you work as an osteopath. Is it right? And how are both Tai Chi and osteopathy connected?
Yes, it's right. I'm going to start to work as an osteopath officially soon.
Great.
So right now I'm in the period where I have to start up both after my finishing of my studies. Like I finished my studies and my exam to be able to work as an osteopath in Germany last year. So now it's for me to start to really work and only work.
Yeah.
And that of course is challenging because with Corona it's not getting easier, but it's fine. And that's the two ways that I will do and have in life, also in my working life, like osteopathy and Tai Chi. And
just a second, Vera, could you explain to everyone that are viewing us, watching us right now, or listening to us right now, what osteopathy is, and then you go on with the answer of the question, just to...
Okay. Well, osteopathy is a way to treat people with your hands and to treat them viewing the whole body as one unit, to say it like that. It was founded in a few hundred years ago, and it was founded in America, and it's not too old. So this kind of medicine is not too old, but of course it's old to treat people with your hands. So there's many techniques which you have doing with your hands while touching your patient. Yeah, that's mainly osteopathy. That's the way that I explain osteopathy.
Yeah.
So of course I had Tai Chi first, and then there came this osteopathy. And osteopathy also in school, no, Tai Chi also in school always was something I was talking about when I did an exam or when I did a presentation and I had to do it my own. There always was something with China or Tai Chi or something like that. And still I add that in my master thesis for osteopathy. So exactly the question you asked me right now about the connection between Tai Chi and osteopathy, is what I talked about and made interviews in my master thesis. So that's the theme that I went into quite deep. And of course I have my own opinion, which I should not have in research, but of course, and also after doing that research, I still have that opinion, and I have a few people agreeing with me that there's a big influence on the therapist doing Tai Chi, and there's a big influence on the patient. If you want to see the therapist, for me, for example, I did Tai Chi all the time, my whole life actually. And of course, that influences the way I touch people and the way what I can feel in other people. I could feel a lot in me through Tai Chi, and now I can feel that in other people. I can see things in other people. Of course, I learn new things with the osteopathy, but still the feeling, the ability to feel and to connect this feeling with my own body, to connect what I feel and what I do in the other one with my own body and my own center, to say it like this, as we are talking about Tai Chi mostly, that is a really big difference inside the touch and inside what you can make to heal tissue healing or make tissue healing by this touch. That's for the therapist. On the other hand, you have the patient. You have the patient that first goes to Tai Chi. No, first we do the other one. That first goes to an osteopathic treatment. And when he goes to that osteopathic treatment, maybe he had this shoulder pain, for example, quite common because normal medicine has not a lot to do about that shoulder pain. So they come to you as an osteopath and you treat them, and maybe you can help them, or hopefully you can help them. And then you maybe treat some tensions in this area. You treat something in the rib side or something like that, and maybe some organs, and then this is getting free. But if I then start to sit in front of the computer all the day like this again, or like this, or if I sit in somewhere else before the television where you don't think about how you are sitting, or if you are so concentrated, I know that, then you go like inside the computer because you are concentrating on something in front of you. If you don't have the attention on your body and you have that for a very long time, it's really hard for an osteopath on one treatment do that well, and then everything goes back again because you have your normal situation. So for those patients, of course, it's really helpful to have something like Tai Chi going into the body, having the attention inside your body and having ideas how to loosen some strong and maybe tension parts in your body, to do that on your own and not need the osteopath doing that from outside. So that's for the patient that first came to osteopathy and then goes for Tai Chi.
Yeah, do you recommend some Tai Chi exercises for some patients? Would be okay to recommend that?
Well, in osteopathy and a treatment, maybe I would do some really, really simple exercises that is not really Tai Chi, but of course influenced by my knowledge of Tai Chi. I would never do something against what is the principle of Tai Chi, right? So I would, of course, have the influence in those exercises. And yes, of course, I would recommend, but, and I have to say, like the others that I interviewed, it's not the only way for a patient to maintain his good way of body structure, to say it like that. So it's not the only way, it's not the way for everyone, everywhere. It's something that has to fit to you. If you don't want to go there we have the joy again. If you don't want to go there, if you're just doing it because somebody said that and you don't engage in what you're doing, then probably we won't loosen your tension anyway.
Yeah.
So that's, if it fits and if I can motivate people, of course I would do. And of course I will have courses here for people coming to me, and then if they want to come to these courses as well. But I cannot force anyone, and that's what everybody has to decide for themselves. So
Yeah.
recommendation definitely, and maybe some exercises in a really simple form just to understand a little bit what Tai Chi could be about.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was amazed about the connection that you just made regarding the therapist, that you said that Tai Chi helps you as a therapist in order to listen and understand the body of your patients with the touch. So I made a parallel, a connection of this relationship as you presented with the pushy hands now, because we practice pushing hands in order to learn to listen to our opponent, to find his or she or her weak point, and then you apply your own force and learn to listen to your opponent force. So I made this connection with Tuiso, with pushing hands, when you talked about the relationship coming from the therapist. Yeah. And also when you talked about the relationship coming from the patient, when you said that the practice of Tai Chi maybe help this patient understand better his structure, find the points of strength or blocks. I don't know if that's correct. It made me make the connection with the standing meditation with the Chan Chuan. So I don't know if this parallel looks good, but it helped me to visualize get this relationship in a more visual way. You know?
Yeah, that's really good. Of course, exactly what you said. For me, as I know both quite well.
Yeah.
And of course, for somebody who knows our system, that would be obvious also to have that for the connection, yes, as a picture. But you also have the other way around, like the patient first doing Tai Chi and then maybe going for an osteopathic treatment. So for me, I could experience that as well. I've always been doing Tai Chi. I know what I can achieve with it. I know what I can achieve on my own, and I know what I can achieve when somebody corrects me, which is two different things, right?
Sure.
So when I practice and I have when I practice for my own, and I practice for a long time for my own because I can't see my teacher, for example. I mean, Jan is not too much here in Germany giving class. So I have to practice on my own quite a lot of time, and it's fine. I can practice a lot and I feel better afterwards. It's good. But sometimes you have maybe a part in your body that you feel you cannot really go into it, or it feels strange and it's not as good as you know you could do if there would be this correction, or you normally were able to do, or something like that. Then for me would be the point to, yes, you can practice a lot, and maybe that would get better. But if you want to have like a kick, sometimes it's good to have this treatment actually on that part. Like I felt, oh, after this treatment, this is so much easier. It's just like, oof, I just need to maintain what the treatment made for me. And it's much easier than if I would always be practicing and practicing and practicing. So of course we still have to practice, or I still have to practice, but it's not the same thing, because there's something, if it's a good osteopath, of course, it's not everyone, but I was lucky to know one who unfortunately now died, but I knew one who was really good and who did exactly that I could feel it immediately afterwards. And I was just like, oh, I need to train to maintain all this. I want to have this always. So yeah, that could be an influence also on the other way. And maybe if somebody would ask me in class, oh, how can I do this? And it's so hard. And then maybe it would help to treat that person once and then give him back the maintenance of what I achieved as a therapist.
Yeah, I like to pick your brain on something right now about with your long-lasting practice of Tai Chi, combined with this medical view, healthy view of an osteopath. I want to know how can you, in which way the practice of Tai Chi regarding the whole system, do you think can improve or can help women's health?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as it's about women, I also made my thoughts about women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before the interview. So, yeah. Of course, there's some themes that is specific for women. Like if you go, for example, onto the menstruation, we only have it as women, and men don't have that. So this is one good way to maybe show we can treat that by osteopathy, but that's not what I really want to go on, because I'm about Tai Chi now. And we can also have influence on the pain maybe we might have while getting or while having the menstruation through our Tai Chi, which I experience as well. If I move my Tai Chi way while getting my menstruation or during having my menstruation, I most of the times have less pain or less complications. And it's not that I have many pains or something like that, but or a big issue on that, but I can feel it's much more comfortable if I do some practice than, for example, just sitting in school all day long. So it's really good for me to have the opportunity to go into those movements. And it's also a little different to just going walking, for example, because you have more ways, more connections in the movement to different parts of the body than only having the two legs walking, which might help as well, but it's a little more than that. Yeah. So that's, for example, something that I, as a woman, would say, yeah, that's fine, I should go practice now, because I feel I get that tension or something like that in my lower stomach.
Yeah, you know, sometimes in my period, I feel a lack of energy when I'm having my period. So I do sitting meditation, you know, which is very slow and very comfortable to do. And I really feel good after some sitting, you know, then I get more energy, some of this energy that I was losing. So it's amazing. It's really good to
that's cool.
Some kind of thing. Yeah.
It's also about, like, sometimes you have some mood change before you get the period, for example.
Yeah, of course.
And that is exactly where I would say there is those hormones who do some emotional whatever, but you have an influence exactly by meditation or by doing your form in a calm way and getting just in your mind a little more clear and a little more up, and to just see everything is continuing, everything is fine, and to have this mood getting not so big in your day mood, to say it like that. So of course, yes, we have that. That's a really good point also in the mental way, definitely. Yeah, that's one point. The other point maybe about women in Tai Chi would be pregnancy, which is specific. So I cannot say anything through my own experience because I don't have any children yet, but what I have heard, at least, or what I have seen in pictures or something, I think it's also something good to have in your hand while being pregnant. Maybe in the beginning you don't ask about, shall I do Tai Chi or shall I do not Tai Chi, but the more you get with your stomach bigger and the child getting bigger, then of course you have to change a little bit your training, but you can still train, in my opinion. Of course you should not go over any limitations that my own body says, no, I can't do that, of course you should not. But if you feel fine, then of course you would continue your practice without any fajin, without any super extreme deep positions to be really like sweating a lot. That maybe not, but you can continue your practice. And by that, for example, there's a lot of times when pregnant women say they have back ache, like pain on the back. Maybe you have an influence on that, even though you don't take any pill, you don't do anything else, but you have your head, you have your shoulders, you have your hip moving around that, and that of course has an influence on your whole spine in the back part. So that is something that I would say it's good for somebody who's pregnant, as you cannot go like jogging or have other sports which are more strong. You have this smooth movements and you do them in an easy way, and then that's fine. That's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next question: what were your, the most important teachings that you learned from your masters, that you keep the principles, because of course you train a lot and you know your masters, but we know that some kind of lessons we keep more than others. So can you talk a bit about that?
Well, one big thing I always learned everywhere was patience.
Yeah.
Patience with myself and patience with the other one as well, in expectations or in whatever, but also the expectation on myself, of course. And yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing is the feeling, actually, like to act in an intuitive way, because I realized that also talking about the connection between osteopathy and Tai Chi, I realized that also, or a lot over there, how much I learned about feeling already in Tai Chi practice and by the corrections. Because when I get the feeling after the corrections and I know what is possible, even though I might not be able to go there yet, if I know what's possible, that is something really, really having a lot of showing an M, but also going in something really deep that you would not experience without this correction. That is something inspiring you, something that really keeps you going and searching for that again. So these corrections were really important for me, also for my Tai Chi practice, to know where to go, but also for everything I do for osteopathy and for everything I do in my normal life, this feeling of an intuitive way and of an going into something.
Yeah.
Difficult a little bit to explain. Going into something which can be into my own body, or which can be into my own mind, or which can be into somebody else's body, or which could actually be into the other one's mind, but through a very specific way, which is not just splashing or crashing or something like this, but which is really intuitive and really in harmony or something like that, which is really exactly on the right point. It's not always there, of course. You have to be in the right mood or in the right atmosphere, but this is something really special that could happen and make a different connection also than between.
Yeah, I know what you mean, to find this inner connection. This balance on mind, on body, on spirit. That you can achieve from Tai Chi. From doing Tai Chi. This is amazing. I understand what you.
So it's more a feeling. It's not a teaching. It's just the feeling through the teaching, maybe. Or sometimes you say reading between lines, and it's something like that. It's between everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why they say Tai Chi, it's a learning journey for life, because you never stop learning. And since I got this, my learning path was more fruitful,
Mm-hmm.
because I gave myself to the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
When you stop thinking that your Tai Chi journey has a starting point, a middle, and an end,
Yeah.
you don't get to learn this and to enjoy this learning path. I know, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and when you get this, that you are always learning, that anytime you get with somebody that knows something a little bit more, a little bit different, doesn't need to be more, you can learn with your fellow of practice.
Yes.
Yeah. And I get this from I get this perception. I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys agree with me, but I get this perception that when you get that, you keep on learning, you never stop learning, you can extract more from every experience of practice,
Yeah. For me, it's not only practice, actually. It's understanding also that it's more than only the way in practice, but the whole life, actually, the whole way of
Yeah,
life, to the whole way
you
of
are right.
designing your life, actually, and what impact you have with everything you do. Which is not
Yes.
always easy to realize that, but there is always an impact on what you're doing, and to have the feeling for this impact and to point it into the way that it might be the best way or a really good way, and not just any way.
Yeah. That all being said, I I I would keep talking to you guys for the whole weekend, but we don't have the time. So I'd like to end this talk, Vera, asking you for some tips and advice for those girls and women that are thinking twice in if they should or shouldn't dive into martial arts or Tai Chi practice as well. Not feeling confident enough, not feeling bold enough to merge and dive into this more male environment that we have today, or even make from this a path of a career,
Mm-hmm.
Tips and advice.
Of course, the first is the question, do you really want that? Which is also something that I just mentioned about life. Do you really want that? You design your life. Do you really want that? And if you really want that, why not? Why adapting? If you see other women achieving something, why saying, oh, she did and she's really good, but I cannot? Why not saying, oh, she did, she could, so why should I not be able to do that as well? To not see it in a competition way or in a comparing way, but to see it in an inspiring way, and going even further than that, what you see in other people, to have your own way finally. So maybe for women, we say, oh, I don't know if I can do that, or maybe it's the mind, but maybe it's just something women have to adapting about that, and to not be very sure instead of just going ahead. But why not going ahead? What is there to make you a boundary or make you an obstacle? Mostly it's yourself, actually, making you that obstacle. So if you decided to want that, then just go ahead. I mean, there is someone that can help you on your path, maybe, or maybe you have to help yourself on your path to just get clear. Many times it helps to talk maybe to a friend or to talk to someone that doesn't know anything about that, or I don't know, everybody has his own way going through doubt, which I of course know as well. I had times of doubt, of course, as well. But then finally to take the decision and say, yes, I can do that. And especially in the part of martial arts, maybe, yes, I am a woman, and I just said before, the men are stronger than me and they have more power, and sometimes I feel like I can't do anything. But on the other hand, if you see really self-defense situations, then if you are a woman and you take some kind of action and you really do something against whatever the man is doing, most of the men would not accept that this would happen and nothing happens. And that also is your inner strength then, or your inner standing position that you have in front of that person, so that maybe there won't happen anything even though he is, or probably there won't happen anything even though he is much stronger than you. So to have the self-confidence on that as well, of course, is important. There could always be a challenge, but that could also be for men. Like, I mean, there could be a teacher in a school and then there's some people coming and want to do something bad. That can always happen everywhere. And it does not really depend if I'm a martial artist or if I'm doing Taiji or if I'm not doing Taiji. That can happen everywhere. But the way going into that situation, that's the main point, actually, to not fear, to not go into that with fear. If you fear that, or if you fear the way going into Taijiquan or martial arts, why fearing? Then you fear maybe your own or what could happen, but you don't need that. It's just going ahead, then you don't need to fear.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any questions, Patty? Any more questions?
Yeah, of course, I have a lot of questions, but yeah, we don't have much time. And what's your favorite routine, the one that you really like to do? I mean, of course, you practice everything, but do you have some form that you prefer, that you feel better doing?
Well, yes, of course I have. I mean, in the part of the hand forms, for me, it does not really matter so much. It only depends on my mood. If I do Laojia or Xinjia, of course, depends on maybe what happened the day or how my mood is, or what I want to achieve with my practice. If I want to go deep and calm down, then of course I wouldn't do those Xinjia forms. If I want to move and I sat in front of the table all the day, then I want to move, of course, then it's maybe Xinjia.
Yeah, depends on. Yeah.
That's about the hand form part. And in the weapons, yes, I definitely have some weapons that I like more, which is the sword that I said before. But that was something that also came because I was introduced that way with the performing thing, that it just became mine. It's just like easy, just going, to say it like that.
Yeah.
And I really like the spear. And
I love the spear.
Yeah, and I like the double sword form, like the double broad sword form, like the saber.
Saber.
But only two. I don't like the one saber.
Okay.
That's something on me.
Well, it was so nice to get to know more. We are so happy and grateful that you accepted our invitation.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You are
I'm happy.
also welcome to come to Brazil, maybe one day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
When everything calms down.
Yes, when everything comes down. I lived in Nicaragua for 1 year, so I have some connections over there. That's why I said before I know the situations. Yes, I want to go sometime to that continent again.
And we would love to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Vera, for joining us. And thank you, Patty, for joining me today in order to give me support. And we hope to see you soon, Vera. And you are more than welcome to come back anytime you want, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wish you a good training, actually, and going ahead. Woo, like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so important. I think in this time, it's the only way we can communicate, but I feel it's really important to communicate and to have an exchange to get motivated when there's the moment that you're not motivated, which is for everyone, also for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everybody for listening, for watching us today. See you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.